The paradox of happiness, Birbal's intelligence in Akbarabad. In the vibrant city of Akbarabad, there lived a wise and witty minister in the court of Emperor Akbar named Birbal. His sharp intellect and quick wit were legendary, and his ability to solve the most intricate problems had earned him the admiration of the entire kingdom. Birbal's reputation for being both clever and resourceful often piqued the curiosity of the emperor, who, though wise himself, enjoyed putting his minister's wit to the test. One day, in the midst of the courtly affairs, a heated debate arose among the courtiers about the importance of wealth and happiness. Some argued that wealth was the key to happiness, while others contended that happiness could be found independent of material possessions. The debate caught the emperor's attention, and he decided to seek Birbal's counsel to settle the matter. Summoning Birbal to his court, Akbar presented him with the challenge. Birbal, there is a disagreement among my courtiers regarding the relationship between wealth and happiness. I want you to find a solution and prove whether wealth truly leads to happiness or not. Birbal, with a twinkle in his eye, accepted the emperor's request. He requested some time to ponder the matter and then set out to explore the city, eager to find a resolution that would satisfy both the emperor and his courtiers. As Birbal wandered through the bustling markets and quiet neighborhoods of Akbarabad, he encountered a beggar named Ramu. Unlike other beggars, Ramu wore a radiant smile on his face and exuded an inexplicable sense of contentment. Intrigued by this sight, Birbal approached Ramu and struck up a conversation. My friend, I cannot help but notice your cheerful demeanor despite your humble circumstances. What is the secret to your happiness? Ramu, with a glint of wisdom in his eyes, replied, Honorable Birbal, happiness is not measured by the wealth one possesses, but by the richness of one's heart. I may not have material abundance, but I am content with the simple joys of life. Birbal, impressed by Ramu's perspective, decided to invite him to the court to share his wisdom. He believed that Ramu's presence could provide a unique insight into the debate that had gripped the court. The next day, Ramu stood before Emperor Akbar and the courtiers, his humble attire contrasting with the opulence of the royal court. Akbar, curious about Birbal's choice, asked, Birbal, who is this man, and what can he teach us about the connection between wealth and happiness? Birbal, with a knowing smile, replied, Your Majesty, this is Ramu, a beggar I encountered in the streets of Akbarabad. He may not have riches, but his wisdom regarding happiness is invaluable. I propose that we listen to his perspective before reaching a conclusion in this debate. Akbar, intrigued by the unexpected turn of events, agreed to hear what Ramu had to say. Ramu, standing before the court, began to share his thoughts on the subject. Emperor Akbar, honored courtiers, I may not have wealth in the conventional sense, but I have discovered that true happiness lies in appreciating the beauty of life and finding contentment in simple moments. Material possessions may provide comfort, but they do not guarantee joy. Happiness, I believe, is a state of mind that transcends the boundaries of wealth and poverty. Ramu's words resonated with the courtiers, and a thoughtful silence settled over the assembly. Akbar, acknowledging the wisdom in Ramu's words, turned to Birbal and said, Your choice is intriguing, Birbal. I appreciate the perspective that Ramu has shared. However, the question remains, can one be truly happy without wealth? Is wealth not a source of comfort and security that contributes to happiness? Birbal, always ready with a response, proposed a solution to settle the debate. Your Majesty, instead of relying solely on words, let us conduct an experiment to explore the relationship between wealth and happiness. I suggest that we temporarily switch the roles of Ramu and one of the wealthy courtiers. We can ask Ramu to live in the courtier's mansion and enjoy the comforts of wealth, while the courtier experiences life as a beggar for a designated period. This way, we can observe how their happiness is affected by their respective circumstances. Amused by the proposal, Akbar agreed to Birbal's experiment. The courtier selected to switch roles with Ramu was a man named Raghav. known for his vast wealth and opulent lifestyle. The exchange would take place for 1 month, during which both Ramu and Raghav would live each other's lives. As the experiment commenced, Ramu found himself in Raghav's lavish mansion, surrounded by servants and adorned in luxurious attire. Initially overwhelmed by the opulence, Ramu adapted quickly, appreciating the comforts and conveniences that wealth provided. However, he maintained his inner contentment and continued to radiate joy. On the other hand, Raghav, now living as a beggar in the streets of Akbarabad, faced the harsh realities of poverty. Accustomed to a life of abundance, he struggled with hunger, discomfort, and the indifference of those who passed by. Despite these challenges, Raghav, with time, discovered a sense of humility and gratitude for the small acts of kindness he received from strangers. At the end of the designated month, the court gathered once again to discuss the findings of the experiment. Ramu and Raghav, having returned to their original circumstances, shared their experiences with the emperor and the courtiers. Ramu, who had temporarily tasted the pleasures of wealth, spoke first. "Your Majesty, while I appreciate the comforts that wealth can provide, I found that true happiness does not solely depend on material abundance. It is the perspective we carry within ourselves that determines our joy. Whether in a humble abode or a grand mansion, one can find contentment by appreciating the blessings of life." Raghav, now having experienced life as a beggar, added, "Emperor Akbar, I must admit that the hardships of poverty are challenging, and I would not willingly choose such a life. However, the experience taught me to value the simple joys and appreciate the generosity of others. Happiness, I learned, is not confined to the walls of opulence but can be discovered in the hearts of those who share their compassion." Emperor Akbar, listening intently to both perspectives, turned to Birbal and said, "Your experiment has provided valuable insights, Birbal. It seems that both wealth and simplicity can contribute to happiness in their own ways. The true measure of happiness lies in our ability to find contentment, regardless of our circumstances." Birbal, with a satisfied smile, replied, "Your Majesty, the experiment aimed to illustrate that happiness is a subjective experience, shaped by our attitudes and perspectives. It is not an absolute truth but a journey that each individual must navigate in their own way." The courtiers, reflecting on the wisdom shared by Ramu and Raghav, found themselves pondering the nature of happiness. The debate that once divided them transformed into a collective exploration of the myriad paths to joy, and so, in the city of Akbarabad, the legend of Birbal's experiment became a tale told for generations, a story that reminded the people that the pursuit of happiness was a journey filled with diverse experiences and the wisdom to appreciate the treasures of both wealth and contentment.